Both Debbie Wasserman-Schultz and President Obama sold the country the promise that they would add 30 million more Americans to our healthcare rolls and reduce the national deficit by as much as $1 trillion over the next 2 decades. Now, that's a direct quote from President Obama. Given Congressman Wasserman-Schultz's prominent role in Obamacare's promotional campaign, do you think that she bears special responsibility for perpetrating one of the greatest budgetary frauds in human history?
Yes, Debbie Wasserman-Schultz, as we all know with the Democratic Party, was a leader and champion for this health care bill, making a lot of promises to the American people of the amount of money that it was going to save, as well as cover many Americans that are uninsured at this time. She definitely should take responsibility for selling us a bill of goods, because basically this health care plan is the biggest fraud on the American people. It is not going to do what the Democrats have promised the bill was going to do, and the American people are starting to realize that now that we're finding out more of what's in the bill.
Now, Congressman Schultz also insisted that the Congressional Budget Office, which is also known as the CBO, supported the notion that health care reform, quote, would reduce costs and premiums for millions of families and businesses. With health care insurance premiums already on the rise for individuals and small businesses, do you believe that Congressman Schultz is directly responsible for the increased costs of these insurance premiums in spite of assurances to the contrary?
Yes, as a small business owner myself, we have just recently in August renewed our policies for our employees. We just now faced a 30% increase, and it has to do with 4 of the things that the Democrats have implemented into the health care bill, such as us being able to put our children on there to age 26, people with pre-existing conditions, and other parts put into it. So definitely the independent insurance companies that I use for my business are feeling the pressure and passing that cost on to us, and we've already experienced that.
Congressman Debbie Wasserman-Schultz also made the statement that the Republican agenda of repealing Obamacare would mean the deaths of thousands of Americans. I later spoke to her regarding this remark, and she still stood by it. Is this remark any different from the remark made by Congressman Grayson when he said that, "That's right, Republicans want you to die quickly if you get sick"?
Unfortunately, Debbie Wasserman-Schultz and Alan Grayson are 2 peas in the liberal Democratic pod. They are doing these kind of tactics in order to scare the American people to death. The Republicans do not want the American people to die. We have real health care reform, and more importantly, Americans are disgusted with the elected officials we have in Washington today, that these are the kind of tactics that they are willing to use in order to scare the American people to death. We want to provide all Americans with health care that's affordable and accessible. Those are the things that are important to the American people, and allow them to continue to work with their doctors and have their freedoms to choose their own doctor and health care for the future, not the way the Democrats would like the American people to believe.
Now, what do you think of Congressman Schultz continuously blaming the Bush administration for all their faults and missteps?
Unfortunately, during the Bush administration, there was some spending that was out of control, but the Democrats have had control of the House for the last 4 years. And for them to continue to blame the Bush administration for their failed policies, I'd like to know where you and I in the private sector for 4 years can continue to blame the people behind us for not being able to come along and fix some of the problems of this economy. They have continued to spend out of control $3 trillion in the last 18 months. So they have no right to blame the failed policies of the Bush administration with themselves continuing to spend out of control. American people are tired of the deficit, the growth of government, and the high unemployment, and they expect better from the people in Washington.
What do you think about the fact that Debbie Wasserman-Schultz seems far more preoccupied of late with other liberal Democrats' campaigns than hers? She hasn't been in the district much, campaigning or even fundraising.
Debbie Wasserman-Schultz is spending a lot of time out of the district because there's many candidates that are running scared right now because they're afraid that they're not going to get reelected because their radical agenda has not helped the American people in our ability to get back to work. Debbie Wasserman-Schultz is not spending a lot of time here. She obviously doesn't need to raise money as she's been able to gather enough money in. Over 70% of her money come from special interest groups. So her not being here in the district, she thinks will not impact her ability to be reelected. So she's going to continue to stay busy helping other candidates because right now the Democratic Party knows that they are in serious trouble come this November.